Welcome, everyone, to Portal to the Infinite, your source for humanity's ascension. And yes, this is the same theme song, it's just a different part of it. I wanted you to get a chance to hear other parts of this wonderful Tchaikovsky masterpiece. Anyway, my name is Brian. I'm welcoming you on this Monday. It's October 28th today, as we start another week. Now, I want to talk today about meditation, because most people misunderstand what meditation's all about. And I know a lot of people who are actually quite intimidated by the prospect of having to sit silently. But let me explain what it isn't first. It's not what you don't have to put on a robe. You don't need to sit in a lotus position. You don't need to hold your fingers in a specific type of way. You don't need to burn incense. You don't need to chant. You can do any of those things, but you don't need to. Now, that was, of course, the old vision that we all had of meditation, at least in my day, back, 30, 40 years ago. That kind of stuff is what we saw Indians doing, in India, the Maharishis and the Buddha. So that was the image that we had of it. Now, it's become something today that is so mainstream that corporations set up meditation rooms. Now, they call them mindfulness rooms, but it's the same thing. Because data has shown that meditation increases people's workflow, their output. It makes them more relaxed. It cuts down on sick time as well, because when people meditate more, they're healthier. So there are so many dynamic reasons why corporations felt that it was in their interest to do so, because it really, what's the bottom line? Do you really think that they were interested in helping their people? Most likely not. You're just a number in a big corporation. But if you affect their bottom line, and meditation apparently does, then that's why they incorporated it. So whether you want to call it meditation, whether you want to call it mindfulness, whatever you want to call it. See, that's the thing to understand, is that when you're on the spiritual path, it's really about discovering who you are. It's not, there are no rules to this. Again, this is not religion. There's no dogmas. There's no nothing. What works for you may not work for me. What works for me may not work for you. And the same thing goes for meditation. Now, what meditation really is just quieting your mind and observing the thoughts that run through it. And this is where detachment comes in. You have to learn to detach yourself from your thoughts, because as has been taught by so many of the spiritual gurus for thousands of years, we are not our thoughts. We become our thoughts because we align with them. We think that the thoughts are who we are, but they are not. And when you detach yourself away from your thoughts, that's how you find your power, because then you can choose which thoughts to which you will give your attention. And remember, energy flows where your attention goes. So energy is just, and emotions too. Emotions are energy in motion, emotions. And that's how you know how you're feeling about something. So when you're meditating, and there's different types, I'll explain it, but when you're meditating in this way, when you quiet your mind, you develop the skill of self-awareness, and that is to become aware of what's popping into your mind and how you feel about it. Because that's how you're going to discover pretty much what makes you tick. What's the thing behind you? What works? What makes your life go in the direction it's been going? It's all of those subconscious thoughts and beliefs that you've all had and continue to have, but unknowingly have given them power. You may say, well, how come all these negative things keep happening in my life? It's because you're continuously giving all of that your energy. You're observing these thoughts and you're clinging to them. And you're giving them life. You're giving them power, and therefore they will have power over you. So when you detach yourself from your thoughts and realize that you're not your thoughts, you could ask the philosophical question, well, then to whom do these thoughts arise? They appear to arise to me, but I am not my thoughts. And that's a very powerful way to begin to separate yourself from your thoughts, realizing that you are the awareness behind it. You're the awareness of those thoughts. You're the seer of those thoughts. And what is awareness? What is consciousness? That, of course, is all that is. Consciousness is the only thing that exists, and even quantum physicists realize this now. There would be no universe unless there were a consciousness there to witness it, to discover it. So that's exactly what we are. We are part of the universal consciousness, which is God, Source, the Creator. It's beyond description. People say, well, what is God? You can't describe God because God is all that is. So you literally just have to describe everything to say that's who or what God is, because God's not a person. We've anthropomorphized him, of course. Religions do that all the time. I mean, growing up, I thought God was an old man in a beard, a white beard and a white robe, sitting in a throne somewhere up in the sky. And that makes God separate from us when we do that. And that's why religion, over the years, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to, if you believe in your religion, and if it works for you and you are rooted in love and joy, then it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're not coming from a place of fear, that's what's most important. So religion has separated God from us, makes God unattainable. He's up there, and we got to follow these rules. And the only way we're going to do that is if we come to this building once a week and follow what they say, and they'll show us how we can get up to God's kingdom and live there forever and ever and ever. Amen. But when you discover that God is all within you, because all that is within you, your consciousness is what connects you to everything, all that is. So meditation is just a way to connect, to reconnect. Even though you're never disconnected, I know we can feel disconnected, but you could never be truly disconnected. It's impossible. So you connect yourself intentionally, but you could also intentionally disconnect, detach yourself. So now, how should you meditate? Well, you could really do anything that's comfortable to you. You may want to take a walk. You don't have to sit still. Some people don't like sitting still. Some people, it's very difficult for them to do that. You may also go out and enjoy gardening. Something like that as well can help you get into a meditative state. And it's that zone that you get into where you feel like you're in a sense of timelessness. You're not paying attention to anything going on around you. You're only paying attention to the one thing you're doing. And anybody who's been in that zone knows that it's really just a case of timelessness when you're there. And you could access anything you want through your consciousness because it is connected to all that is. So therefore, whether it's something in the foreseeable past or future, even though there are no past and future, outside of time, everything is in the now, everything's happening right now. And quantum physics has shown this as well. And that's what I really enjoy today, because being scientifically oriented growing up and having predominantly a left brain view of the world, I was always very logical. So I had to approach spirituality in a logical sense. I just couldn't approach it any other way. So it's definitely, meditation has changed my life, I will say that. But you have to do what works for you. What do you feel drawn to? Do you want to just sit in a chair? Do you want to lie down? Whatever you want to do. Focus on your breathing. In and out. Focus in and out. Again, there's all sorts of different techniques. I'm not going to bore you with them because you can go on YouTube and you can find a million videos that are going to teach you how you should meditate. And the bottom line is there's only one version out there that's going to work for you, and you should be the one who finds it. When you resonate with something, say, this works for me. You'll just know it. As I always say, you have your intuition, which is your higher self speaking to you, not necessarily in a voice, but through instincts, through gut instincts, through feelings, through leadings, through apprehensions maybe. When you feel, I shouldn't do this. This doesn't feel right. Something about this just isn't right. That's your intuition. Always listen to it. And so use the time. How long should it be? Well, some people say 20 minutes. You could do anything during this period of time. You could also visualize the life you want. And while you visualize it, like whether it's that new car, new house, new friends, whatever it may be, visualize it. And try to imagine that, because remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. And we know that through science as well, which is why athletes successfully use visualization techniques to get better at their game. There's also scientific studies that show that you could put on muscle mass purely by visualizing yourself lifting weights. Yeah, It's true. You can put on muscle mass because your brain thinks you're working out the muscle. Now, there's a technique with which to do it. Again, not getting into that today because you could research all of these things. But your brain doesn't know the difference between real life and imagination. And imagination is our greatest gift because what we're seeing in our mind already exists. And that's something you have to understand. That the very things you want in life, there's already that version of you that has either accomplished that, possesses that, whatever the case, it exists. The mind, and we learned this from Neville Goddard, and if you don't know who he is, look him up. He's all over YouTube. He's in spirit now, but he was one of the greatest spiritual teachers of the last century. And he said, imagination, the whole world that you're experiencing is, as he called it, you pushed out. So we're each living in our own universe, which again, quantum physicists are saying that. The universe you experience and the universe I experience are actually two different universes. Oh, there's a collective reality, of course, where we could all see things in common. But ultimately, this is why certain people can have beautiful lives and other people seem to have the life from hell. This is why some people look at the world and see nothing but beauty and wonderful people, happiness and joy, which, by the way, is the version of the earth that I'm on. I never run into nasty people, I don't see nasty people, and even if I come across people who may look disheveled or may look different or may look like what the media is trying to tell us and make us fight over, I never have those interactions with people. Everybody I find is very nice, and that's because ultimately people are. People are very nice. And as we get closer to this ascension, people have to become more about love. Loving everyone else the way you would hope to be loved by this world. You can't receive what you don't put out. If you want love, you have to give love. If you want friendship, you have to be a friend. As Christ taught, do unto others as you would have it done unto you. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than that. And that's the reality. That's how we should be living. And so every day when you meditate, you can be intending all of these things. You can say all of your affirmations. You could say them in your mind. Remember, you don't have to speak with your mouth because, frankly, when you're in spirit, you don't. It's all telepathic. Telepathy is absolutely natural to us. We are spiritual beings. We always were and we always will be. We're temporarily here having this earth experience, but, not to get too far ahead and too down the rabbit hole, but we all chose these experiences we're having. We planned it out. It's kind of like planning a trip or a vacation ahead of time. You know where you're going. You know where you're staying. You have an idea what you'd like to do. However, once you get there, you can change your mind and say, well, instead of touring this place today, let's go here instead. Now, that's the free will we each have. We each have the free will to do, to go, to experience, to believe anything we want. And the key is, of course, to allow that to give us the experience that we came here to have. And how do we know what that experience is? Well, whatever gives you joy, whatever your dreams and desires are, that's why you came here, to explore those things. Now imagine doing what you love for your entire life and feeling completely fulfilled and being a model for others who see how you're living your life so that they realize they can do the same. That's what it's all about. It's that simple. That's why people say, what is the meaning of life? There is no meaning. You give it meaning, and you give your life meaning based upon whatever meaning you want it to be. There's no single meaning of life because every life is a part of God, a part of creation, and each individual is experiencing life the way he or she wishes to. So meditation is a great way to detach yourself from your thoughts, learn what thoughts going through your mind are, so this way you can understand what makes you tick. You can find out your fears, your anxieties, they all show up. But you can detach yourself from them, thereby removing their power, removing their energy, which comes from you. Now, whenever you do find a negative thought or an emotion or a feeling, don't get angry with it. Don't banish it because it exists. It always will exist. You're just no longer going to give it your energy. So go about it with a sense of gratitude because obviously we learn from everything, especially from the negative. Because the negative creates the contrast where we say, oh, I don't want that. That's not what I want. That's for sure. That's how we discover who we are. That's how we discover why we came here. Because If we're doing things that make us feel, ugh, I don't want to do that, well, then good. Now you realize that's not why you're here. Somebody else may love doing that, but you don't. You love doing this other thing over here. Pursue that, and then trust that the universe, creation, is going to align and rearrange itself around those desires to give you the exact path that you came to walk, to have the experiences you came here to experience, and to learn the lessons you came to learn. Because it is only here where we have time, linear time. I do something or I think something, something happens, and therefore there's a result. That doesn't happen in spirit. When you're in spirit, you retain with you all of your experiences, of course, your identity, your memories, your loves. You maintain all of that. That's who you are. You're never going to change. I mean, I shouldn't say that. The point of view of your consciousness is eternal, but you're going to evolve just as you evolved in your own life. Think back to when you were a child and then a young adult. Maybe you still are a young adult. Maybe you have your whole life ahead of you. But no matter where you are, you know that you can look back and say, I have changed and evolved from who I am. What I did as a child, of course, doesn't serve me as an adult. I have different desires, different likes, different goals, different understanding, different everything. So you're always going to evolve, and you have all of eternity to do it. You want to have all sorts of experiences. There's no limit to the experiences you can have. You could also decide to not have any experiences. That's your choice. And some people get into spirit and they just want to take a few million years off, even though there's no time there. What I'm saying is that they just want to be still. Sometimes they just want to exist, to be. Maybe they'll incarnate or come back as a tree or a rock. They have consciousness. Everything is consciousness because everything is made of the same stuff. Everything is made of atoms. Atoms are 99.999999999% empty space. And they have subatomic particles that pop in and out of existence, and scientists have no idea where they go. And what is going on is that they are blinking in and out of existence because we are literally living a real-life movie. The difference is instead of 21 frames of the movie per hour flashing across the screen, we have billions of frames. Billions of frames. That's why I say that we each are in our own separate universe. That's how incredible this is, folks. Think about the fact that you are a point of creation. You are a version of God's eyes, seeing what God wants to see through those eyes. You are a version of God's ears, hearing what God wants to hear through those ears. You are the creator, as you. And you have access in meditation to anything and everything. So whether you just want to use it to be completely quiet and try to think nothing, you could try that. Or you want to visualize what you want in your life and see yourself living it and possessing it. Remember, the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined, and imagination is the fourth dimension. So everything you imagine in your mind already exists. What you're going to do as a creator, as a co-creator, is then trust that the universe can bring all of those things to be, all of those things to life, all of those things into your experience. You can do it. The universe does it. You're already doing it, by the way. That's the thing, is to understand you've already been doing it. You've been doing it your whole life. You just didn't know so. And as a result, you hung on to and believed and accepted as truth and fact all sorts of things that don't really serve you anymore. So you can discard all of them with appreciation. Be thankful and grateful to it. Give it your appreciation, but no longer give it your energy. And I speak so much on this podcast about energy because we are energy. Our thoughts are energy. Everything is energy. And where we put our attention is where we're placing our energy, because energy goes where attention flows. Or should I say, I keep getting that wrong. Energy flows where attention goes. So give it a try. If some people say, oh, I can only do like 3 minutes, then do 3 minutes. Try 3 minutes. Next time, try 5 minutes. Work your way up to it. There are no rules. Just as long as you understand the principles behind it, because you're slowing down your brain waves. That's what a lot of the breathing does. Find a breathing exercise that you enjoy. You're relaxing. And when you're relaxing, you're losing sight of the outside world and you're going within, because that's where the kingdom of heaven exists. It's within you. Everything is within you. All information, all knowledge, everything, every other soul you want to contact. Speak to your guides, speak to Jesus, speak to your loved ones. Everything is connected, and everything exists right now. So give it a try. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description box. And if you like this content, give it a like, please. Subscribe as well, and maybe share it with some friends and that you think may resonate with this information. But anyway, that's it for today, folks. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow and the rest of the week. I'm going to try to do these every single day because I'm here to help you ascend and to navigate. It's all simple, and you really don't need me. You can do it all on your own. I'm just a guide, a teacher, a way shower, a guide. So enjoy the rest of this blessed week. It can be anything you want it to be. Set your intentions for it to be the best week you've had in years. Okay, folks, this is Brian signing off. Be blessed, everybody.